Okay, thank you. Good evening and welcome to the Pioneer Valley Regional School District School Committee meeting. It is Thursday, April 9th at 6:02 p.m. I'm going to call the meeting to order. We do have members who are remote, and so we need to do a roll call start to the meeting. Sharon, will you start?
Yes.
Sharon, present.
Fontaine, yes.
Great.
Stephanie Arroyo, present.
Raina Dastu here.
Gretchen Kelton here.
Stephen Martin here.
Melissa. Melissa Osborne, are you present? Melissa Osborne here. Thank you. Melissa Gary, present. Okay. Thank you. Okay. Oh, Cami is, okay. All right. Citizens' comments. Okay, seeing none. We'll get right to the approval of minutes.
I have one thing.
Okay, great.
At section 1, it said that Melissa Gary called the meeting to order and you weren't here.
Yeah.
Oh, yep.
But good job from afar.
Yeah.
Wait, I did watch it the whole time, so nice. I know.
Are we on the minutes? Is that what's happening? I just have one thing, one item on page 2, item C, about 2/3 of the way down, due to a successful grant application by Zevi Steinitz. Not Claire Brennan.
Oh, okay. I misheard that.
I'll turn the TV on.
And I have a correction in Roman numeral 7.
Okay.
Second to the last line was not moving any candidates forward.
Oh, and, yeah, got it. There's autocorrect.
Yeah. Exactly.
Okay, I will accept a motion to accept the minutes as amended.
So moved?
I'll second that.
Okay, roll call vote. Sharon?
Sharon Fontaine, yes.
Stephanie Arroyo, yes.
Raina Dastu, yes.
Gretchen Kelton, yes.
Stephen Martin, yes.
Melissa Gary, yes. Okay, thank you. All right, so reports. So what I want to briefly report on is I attended the 3-town meeting last week. It is looking like all 3 towns are going to vote to not recommend our budget for various reasons. There were some false information, statements like our budget is going up 14%. That was stated. No one corrected it. They are having a meeting tomorrow at 6 o'clock. So if anyone is interested in attending, there is public comment at the end. I encourage our community. It is not a televised, they don't televise these 3-town meetings, so it's really hard to feel the tone and really what the meeting is without being present. So I really encourage people to attend if they can. So 6 o'clock at the Bernardston Senior Center tomorrow night. Sharon? Yeah.
Can we demand a correction of the misinformation?
We could definitely write and say, you know, here are some
I think we should.
things. Yeah, there was definitely some factual things that were stated that were incorrect. Yes.
Thank you.
Yep. Okay. So that is all I have for the report for right now. I skipped over student representatives because they are not here. Superintendent.
I will be brief because I'm going to talk later. Last night was the first annual spring arts event.
It was
And-
awesome.
Yeah, Sharon, tell us, Miss Fontaine.
Oh,
what-
it was wonderful, and we have such a talented art teacher that has been here for years and years. And she has brought these kids to a place of appreciation for art, for all different venues of art. And the mural was absolutely fantastic, and she's been working on that for years, and the kids had their input, they signed the little things that they drew, and all the pictures and the photographs that they took, the pottery that they made, all the different
Amazing.
beautiful venues that I was so proud. I was so proud of
How
all
about the
of it.
music?
Yeah, well, I got here at the end, and they had just finished, so I was sad that I didn't get the music, but I'll be at the spring concert. Yes.
Excellent.
It was something.
It was so great. And the mural is so impressive.
Yes.
It was a, what a,
Yeah, I was there for the NHS induction, and also saw the art. The music set the tone
Yeah.
for me. It was warm and welcoming. The parking lot was packed. I was so impressed with the families that came, and all ages. So elementary school families were here in the building, and it was a really great night with a lot of very proud families and students sharing their craft. It was beautiful. Yeah, it was wonderful.
And what about the musical?
oh,
Amazing.
that was,
It was
Yes.
so good.
It was fabulous. Yeah, I
It
really
was
enjoyed it.
fabulous.
Such a great job.
Yeah.
So much fun and so much just joy
So much
on this on the
talent and
kids'
bravery.
faces.
It was just amazing. All the solos.
And the student introductions. and
Yes, I love that.
very powerful,
Yeah,
Yeah.
meaningful.
very.
I'm just going to take 1 second. There's something that I meant to bring up. I would like to, as the, just the second part of, sorry, I want to read you the list of college acceptances, because it is so impressive. And I think that this list, no, this is a current list. Let me get back on line here. So, you ready? This is our little class of 16 seniors. And the numbers look like the senior class will double in 2 years. And we anticipate that it will increase by 50% 2 years after that. So remember, this junior and senior class, and I'll say it every time, we are loving these kids to bits. We are loving them to pieces. They're having a great year. And without further ado, Adelphi University, Arizona Central College, Bentley University, Binghamton, Bryant, Champlain, Clarkson, Drew, Fitchburg State, Greenfield Community College, Hawaii Pacific University, Hofstra, Lamar Community College, Laramie Community College, Loyola, Mass College of Pharmacy and Health Sciences, there you go, Jamaica Plain, bordering there, Merrimack, Northeastern Junior College, Northeastern University, I have two nieces there, Penn State, Quinnipiac, a future pollster of politics in America. They are surely, that is the place. Rhode Island College, Rochester Institute of Technology. May they come back here and be an engineer in Franklin County. Russell Sage, Salem State, Sarah Lawrence, Skidmore, St. John Fisher, and then our state universities, UConn, UMass Amherst, UMass Boston, UMass Lowell, University of Minnesota Twin Cities, University of New England, UVM, Vermont State University, Castleton, Western New England University, and Westfield State. And for a number of these, we have multiple students who have received acceptances. So
And this is not the final list.
this is not the final list.
Some have not even, there's some that are still working on applications.
Yes, to a school on, yes, so go Pioneer. Thank you.
Okay, so in Taffy's absence, we have Cammie with us tonight to provide our financial reports. There is a memo. It was funny, I noted, the memo is great, thank you, Cammie. It was,
The formatting's
the formatting was different, I was like, what is this document in here? So, thank you, Cami, for all of your help and support always, and especially in this time with Taffy being absent.
My pleasure, just to keep the district going and everybody to have a pulse on where the finances still are and to keep moving it forward. I enjoy doing those kind of things. So I put the packet together. That's the information through the end of March, cumulative through the year from July until the end of March. I wanted to explain about the revenues, if I could for a minute, just because the revenues have all been banked in the bank. They've been entered in the financial software, but I can't do both ends. I can't put it in the bank and enter it and post it.
right.
Taffy has to do that. So the revenues might look a little bit lower than they really are right now, and that's the reason why. Expenditures are on track. I did some grant work in the past couple of weeks to do some of that piece of it. Cheryl also gave me the the food service program information. March was a good month for them. They actually had a surplus for the month of March, which put them in a better place year to date as far as where their shortfall was. They've got a number of things. Their participation at each one of the schools is very good. So I don't know if the committee has any questions I can answer for them while I'm here.
Seeing none.
Okay. I'll just touch quickly on the grants. I didn't write anything up. I was busy doing the grant work, to be honest with you. I closed out some of the 25 grants and have prepared the final documents for 25 grant funds. I reclassified some of the salaries that should be going to the 26 grants. We still have a few more salary adjustments, but I need to get together with Taffy when she comes back to determine who those people should be. And we'll take care of those. And I drew down from the state reporting system about $250,000 in the past few weeks to bring those grant funds back into the district that we've spent out of grant funding.
Great. Thank you. Thank you. Okay.
Could I add a bit of, Cami, I didn't have a chance to, well, no, I sent you the email, but you and I haven't talked today. Did I talk with the committee previously about the Title I precipitous situation? That's not the right adjective. Yes? No?
I
Okay.
don't think so.
So the state sent out notice maybe 6 weeks ago that it looked like there could be a significant cut to our Title I funding. So that's an entitlement grant. That's different from some of, Cami is talking about some entitlement grants and some grants that are competitive. The federal government uses a different calculation for poverty. Title I grants are designed to provide extra services in schools that have higher proportions of kids who come from low-income homes. The proportion across the country of the overall poverty load that Massachusetts has decreased by about 10%, according to the federal government last year, which made it look like there could be at least a 10% cut to Title I funds to districts. And our district was perilously close to a cutoff threshold for a 50% reduction in our Title I funding, which would have been $50,000. So we talked, we met. I spoke with the two educators whose salaries are greatly supported by Title I funding, and our decision at the time was we're going to hold steady. We're not making any changes. We're going to wait and see. Lo and behold, I got an email this morning from the state saying, hey, we got updated numbers from the federal government and things look better. If we have a cut, it looks like it will be only $15,500. So Cami, that's good news in terms of the overall budget and grant funding. I'm happy to share that. And certainly if there's any change to that number, we'll keep you apprised.
Great, thank you. Okay, so financial reports, grant reports, and the rescinding of the resignation.
Cami, I'll introduce, and then if you want to say anything, please do. So as you know, we have been so fortunate to have Ms. Limica serve as our district treasurer. She was resigning, and then she agreed kindly to extend her time with us because Taffy's out of the office. We posted, who who did those interviews? Yeah, we did interviews. We had some great candidates, and then we found out from Miss Lamica, and I'm happy with this. I'm happy with this changing path. Miss Lamica would like to stay with the district as our district treasurer.
Yes.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank
Awesome.
you.
Thank
Yeah.
you. Right.
Wow, really?
I appreciate that. I really would like to spend, I was trying to figure out how I was going to do that. I have a new grandbaby at home,
Congratulations.
trying to help.
Maybe
So-
can help you.
Well, I'm devising a system where I'm getting some backup to put pieces together to be able to do some more of that work. So that's where it's a little evolving right now. Trying to put a team together of doing some work, but that will give me the ability to keep staying doing this work with you.
Great.
Oh, thank you.
so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
So I will accept a motion to approve the rescinding acceptance of Ms. Lamica's resignation and allow her to continue the appointment as district treasurer.
So moved with many thanks.
And I will second that.
Okay, roll call vote. Sharon?
Sharon Fontaine, yes.
Stephanie Arroyo, yes.
Raina Dastu, yes.
Gretchen Kelton, yes.
With vigor, yes.
Melissa Osborne, yes.
Melissa Gary, yes.
Yay.
Yeah, yay.
Thank you.
Wonderful.
So Kimmy doesn't have to stay.
No, Cammie, you are free to sign off as you feel free. Sure. Okay, thank you.
Right.
Okay, first order of business, school choice seats.
Yeah. So, school committee, you have the memo in front of you, and for folks at home, the school committee at a recent meeting, what day was that, where you approved the seats? On February 12th. For next year, and I'm happy to say we're getting applications, families are signing up, it's wonderful. Maybe 2 of the grades over at BES, they didn't have so many seats, but they're full. So that's all, we're getting kids up here at Pioneer. Great news. And we told you at the time that we needed to go through the kindergarten registration process to see what was happening. That process has happened, and the administrative team believes that at this time, we would not recommend opening new school choice seats in our kindergarten classrooms because of the number of students already enrolled. And as you can see, we have 17 students enrolled already at BES and 19 students enrolled at NES. And there are still students out there who are age eligible, who live in our towns and would have a right to come to the schools. And because our integrated preschools serve the important purpose of providing specialized services to students with IEPs, the 3-year-olds, as soon as they turn 3, they leave early intervention. We welcome them with open arms. We need to leave a couple seats open in each room. And typically those kids are not coming 5 days a week, but we need to leave those seats open. Now, there is an unfortunate twist to this tale, and that is that we have 2 dear families who are have kids currently enrolled in the district via the school choice program, and they were hoping to enroll younger siblings in kindergarten. We would certainly, it would be our desire to have those younger siblings enter kindergarten, and the administrative team cannot in good conscience recommend opening up 2 school choice seats at Bernardston, that's where both families are, given that we already have 17 kids enrolled. So happy to answer your questions.
So according to this, it says 17 are currently enrolled, and then age eligible town resident, 7 of them that are not enrolled.
That are not enrolled.
So that
And that
means-
does not include Lyme.
And that doesn't include Leiden, right? So is there a potential for 2 classrooms?
Yes,
And
yes.
that's not built into the budget?
That is not built into the budget. No, we're going to be magicians if that happens. So a few things about these censuses in the towns. Brenda Beck kindly did a really thorough look over the past maybe 4 or 5 years at kids who actually show up for kindergarten and kids who are listed on the town censuses. And in Northfield in particular, every year we have kids who come to us as resident students who are not listed on the town census, right? And fair enough, right? There's no mechanism that I know of that would require people fill out the census, you know. So the exposure is possibly greater than what is listed there.
Yeah.
And not everybody goes to kindergarten. Most kids do. And some families choose other kindergartens,
Right.
right?
Right. Totally.
They go
I'm just
elsewhere.
seeing these numbers.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, we're tipping the scale here, and we could be looking. Okay.
I know, I'm acting all cool.
You're acting really cool as a cucumber right now, and I am not feeling that way. Yeah.
What is the tipping point? What is the number that usually makes you create two?
Yeah, so some districts have that built into policy. Some districts have it built into the teacher's contract, class size maxima. This district has it built in neither document. So I don't know it's not in policy, or,
Yeah, it used to, I mean, I'm sure policies get revised, but the last I knew it was 24 at kindergarten, that it was split. But that's maybe a revised policy that I have information about.
yeah. As far as I know, there is no policy that lists class size maxima.
Yep.
And it's certainly not in the teacher's contract. So I would say it depends.
And it depends on need.
It depends on need, it
Class
depends on the
need,
kids.
too, right?
Right.
There's a lot of
Right.
like,
A lot of variables.
there's a lot of variables.
How soon do
Okay.
we know? Is there a cutoff time that someone has to give
Nope.
us notice? that
Nope,
they're
someone
gonna
can
be
show up the day before school opens, someone can show up 2 weeks later.
Right,
Oh, and then there's also the families that move in.
okay.
And hey,
Right.
I guess I'm a glass half full woman tonight. Isn't this great?
Yeah.
Isn't this great?
Yes, and what
Yes,
a
it
wonderful
is.
teacher that they will be.
That's right. That is right. They
Who
get to come to
process-
this.
We'll
So
be very
isn't this great?
sensitive
Like
to
we
those
have been
numbers
saying,
because,
The MSBA said enrollment will be growing in this district over the next 10 years. I think this is, at the youngest level, a harbinger of what is to come. Our pre-K seats are full. Right, we had a really nice.
These are the COVID bump.
Ah, there you go.
Yeah.
When I lived in England, they had a massive strike across heating, electricity, postal services, you name it, everybody was on strike. And a few years later, there was a huge.
Huge.
bump.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, within the year, but
Yes,
the
right.
school, it
Yeah.
hit the schools.
Right.
5 years later, it was.
Renee?
I was wondering,
No,
at the
the
point,
TVs
Oh,
were
sorry.
shut down.
Hold on.
when it says reserve seats for new students with
Right.
IEPs too, you had talked about like a preschooler, and I understand that, but in kindergarten, we would just
Oh.
accept any.
Yeah.
like,
You know what?
pre-K and
That's a
K or-
mistake. That's a
Okay.
mistake. That was thank you so much for catching it. That's a holdover from the pre-K,
I see.
so strike that.
So that column doesn't.
Thank you.
exist.
Yep.
Yeah. Both schools?
That's a little less. than
Yeah.
20,
Yeah.
But still.
And there are options, right? I was a kindergarten teacher, and interestingly, in the Boston Teachers Union contract, there was a provision I would not recommend that allowed the teacher to say, above 22 kids, if there was one more student, no, listen to this, Ms. Keir. If there was one more student, you could say yes, but you'd get 1,500. I'm making up the number. 2 students, you'd get X. But the teacher could say, no, I don't want the kids.
well,
it would-
Whoa,
that's
yeah.
an interesting concept.
Yeah. So there are options, right? Let's, let's say there are 23 kids, maybe it's 24 kids, but it feels like a manageable group. Maybe we put another instructional assistant in the room, right? We don't open, but it depends.
Yep, nope, I just really want to frame this because 17 and set. I was a history teacher, not a math teacher, but I'm seeing numbers here that I'm like, I don't think we've,
I've heard some wonderful things about the incoming kindergarten
Yes.
class, by the way.
positive things.
Positive
Yes.
things, right?
Yes,
Yes.
yes, we welcome them.
Okay. Community forum, social media, and our children's mental health.
Yeah, I'm gonna shut my computer, so I'm not. All right. I'm gonna shut everything. This is so important. I'll leave that open over there. So, 2.25 years ago, I sat in this chair and held up this green covered document and said, something has to change. Maybe that week, there had been one too many incidents of student misbehavior in which a student was unkind, was hurtful to another student at school, and part of the genesis of that behavior was something to do with the cell phone and the internet. and social media. It just that it was January, and it just I was spending a lot of time, and if I'm spending a lot of time, it means the teachers and the principals are spending even more time, right? When it gets to me, they're the ones managing it. And you, school committee, you were so brave. This is not flattery. This is an accurate description of what took place. You were brave, and you did research, and you sat in my office, and you read this with each other, and you did a text rendering protocol with this document, and you read policies. You looked at the websites of organizations around the world that were working on the scourge that is child and youth access to social media, and you wrote a gorgeous policy that people across the Commonwealth, I talked to the assistant district attorney today who mentioned Pioneer and the things we're doing. You made the change, and then
I didn't hear that.
You made the change. You led the way, and it's had such an impact, particularly in this building. It was never as much a problem in the elementary schools, but such an impact. I've told you many times, I eat lunch every so often in the cafeteria, and the kids are hanging out, socializing the way they should be. It's great. The teachers are not fighting constantly about phones. Some kids are sneaking phones in. We know it. We know it. And that's okay, right? It's a small group. It's okay. The phones aren't out all the time. So, okay, that's beautiful. What's not so beautiful right now? What is not so beautiful is the impact that our younger students, the impact of getting online on our younger students. And I'm going to say some things that may be shocking, and that may be shocking. I am seeing evidence brought to me by the principals that we have many younger children who are online on the bus, at home, out in the world, in ways that their caregivers do not know. We have had examples of younger students watching pornography. Younger students, meaning lower than Pioneer, right? And let me be clear, anything that I mention that something like that, we have taken appropriate actions, and if an authority needs to be notified, we've done it, okay? The younger ones are not okay, and I think it's time for the district to step forward into our communities and engage our families in a district-wide 3-town conversation about our children and the malignant tentacles that the oligarchs have extended into our beautiful rural towns. They are reaching our children. They are harming our children. And it is a scourge that no one of us, no family, I am not judging our parents and guardians and grandparents. This is about oligarchs and mega corporations that are making their billions on the backs of our children. And no family can fight this on their own. They can't. And so I'm sure everyone's seeing things in the media. So this article was in the Times about a week ago. A phone-free childhood, one Irish village is making it happen. Okay? A village of 20,000 in Ireland, including a whole bunch of tech folks. And I would point out that the Waldorf School in Silicon Valley is full all the time, right? The titans of technology are not letting their kids online the way that the algorithm is getting kids online in everyone else's household. So what this community did was they said, okay, no one else is protecting our children. We are going to protect our children. And they started convening conversations, and the schools led the way and said, what's happening? Like, what's happening in your house? What do you see? What are you worried about? One of my goals tonight is to make clear to you, school committee, and any families and community residents watching at home that while everyone is doing their best and people are working so hard and the world is a challenging place right now, again, this is not judgmental, a lot of kids are online in ways that the adults who love them and care for them do not understand. I'm going to give a couple examples. I spoke with a super tech savvy parent about this, just checking in with them, what do you think? And this parent said, I just realized that my son was on Discord. and I had no idea. And this is among the most tech-savvy, we've got, I get principals who seek my guidance about a disciplinary issue, and they send me the screenshots of the text conversations. And what the young children are saying to each other is something that would have, curled my hair, had my, they are using not just profane language, but the coarseness and the meanness of their interactions, the bullying, right? And the schools, the teachers are working so hard on the bullying. We can buy more second step curriculum. We can have more bystander role plays. We can have more school adjustment counselor lunch bunches. We can do this, that, and the other. I want to give you a couple statistics. We know some of that's working in school because in last spring's vocal survey, which is the state survey that kids take after MCAS, that's designed to capture a sense of what's the school climate for the kids in this building. Students take this in 4th, 5th, 8th, and 10th grades. We had in this district, overall, the highest rates of participation of any district in Franklin County. So there's one question. It changes a little bit for the grades, but it's more or less, if I tell my teacher that my classmate is being bullied, my teacher will help that person. If I tell my teacher my classmate's being, and I love how they do it, it's not me, they give it a little room. If I tell my teacher that my classmate's being bullied, my teacher will, the question changes a teeny bit through the grades. Here's what our kids said. At BES, 100% of the 4th graders said that's mostly or always true. 95% of the 5th graders. At NES, 100% of the 4th graders and 100% of the 5th graders said that's always or mostly true, that if I tell my teacher someone's being bullied, my teacher will do something. Up here, 94% of the 8th graders, a little lower, 78% of the 10th graders. So that to me means we know that all this stuff the teachers are doing around bullying is having some impact. It will never be enough against the juggernaut that is these corporations who have legions of engineers building software designed to hit the kids in their brains, those dopamine hits. I'm going on because it's bad. It's bad. And I don't know of another organization in our 3 towns that is poised to take the leadership role that the schools could with love and courage, the way that you engaged around the cell phone policy. So I am seeking your feedback. I would like to hear from you, school committee. What do you think about the idea of inviting our community, and I think it extends beyond the families, and certainly beyond the families of kids enrolled here. We have many families who have their kids going, this has to be everybody. I did talk the other day with one teacher who said, my friends and I have a little pact, and we're going to keep our kids from having phones. Like that little nucleus, it's just a few families. But what do you think about this idea of tackling this and leading the way on it?
Okay, 1 second, Melissa, and then I'll call on you.
I'm so sorry I couldn't be there in person. This is a topic that I feel really strongly about, and I would love to be a part of any sort of committee that is formed out of this. But I was thinking about this actually recently, and it's, the schools are doing everything they can, and it's really a community issue. Like, these kids could have all the support that they need in school, but they're not in school 24/7, and unfortunately, these phones, do you remember back in like the 80s and there were ads that said, it's 5 o'clock, do you know where your child is? Do you remember that?
Sure do.
Do you remember that?
10 o'clock.
It's kind of like that. It's 9 o'clock. Have you seen what your child has been doing on their phone? And the problem is, it's not necessarily your child trying to be malicious, like looking through this, being sneaky. It's a matter of, you could have all of the controls on your phone thinking, oh, it's all good. And really, unless you look into the apps and you look into, because even if you have, let's say, social media, and you only allow friends that you know for your child, you don't know, because you're not looking every day at what the friends are posting, what they're being exposed to. It's really bad. And I think that the parents community free of phones for children isn't going to, people will not listen to that. They're going to turn off. It's like, oh yeah, right, that's not going to work. But I think if there was a way to engage parents to recognize and have the tools to really say, no, you really need to go into the apps. You really need to go into the search history. You really need, like, did you know that message can be deleted? You know, how do you recover those messages? You really have to be surveilling even someone who thinks, oh, I know everything that's going on. You don't. And it's really so important, and I would love to be a part of this initiative.
Thank you. Sharon?
I agree 100% with what she's saying. I think it starts with the parents, the community, and the schools. And also, I would very much encourage Assistant District Attorney and the District Attorney to be involved and help us along with anything they think that we should be looking out for. I know it's the freedom of speech and all this, there's so many variables here that we need to think about as well. But it's a real hot topic.
Yeah, go ahead, Brian. Yeah.
Did they pass it?
I don't know. I don't know.
It was up today.
Okay.
And I know the general
Yeah.
impression was problems.
Yeah.
You know, so I know it doesn't address the big picture, but you guys are ahead of that.
Right.
Places are not.
Right.
I'm pretty sure it was
Today.
destined
Yeah.
to pass, and it was today.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah. Yeah, Stephanie.
I'm sure someone's done research and compiled a list of, common apps and game sites and things like that that have more of an open forum for discussion or things like that that may have caused, some kind of interaction that you might be concerned about. So I'm sure we can pull on a wealth of research to make a presentation that we could at least give people the means to check text content and things like that, and maybe, some kind of a handout or some kind of an instructional thing for people who aren't focusing on that. They're focusing on taking care of kids and living their lives. So I think that's, there's probably a wealth of information we can pull from.
Steve?
Thanks very much, and apologies to my kids for bringing you up as Pioneer graduates, but I'm struck as a parent and someone who's has patients, many patients who are affected, and certainly community members. I'm struck that this is incredibly hard to do. And the corporations, as you mentioned, Superintendent, have zero real vested interest in making it easy to do. And we've had 20 years that they could have gotten better at it. And when we looked not that long ago, it's just very difficult to do. It's very difficult to monitor. It's very difficult to look under the hood. It's very difficult to figure out how many accounts your kids have, how many accounts you can see, what's locked in a folder on something. So my heart goes out to all of us and younger parents who are trying to navigate this. And I think a reality-based discussion, and I'm going to add the word solidarity, in solidarity together, where we can provide high-quality, low-burden ways to do this that are imperfect and always will be imperfect. But the idea that a parent can provide 24/7 surveillance of what their kid's doing, those days weren't here and never will be. And so I think above the conversation about what kids can check on, and the district attorney I think is a terrific idea, what's the ethic and what's the spirit of these conversations that we have among ourselves and with children that provide a way of being in this world? Because surveillance is not going to fix this, sadly, and never has and never will. So what can we do in addition to good faith, due diligence, knowing, and then how do we do this in accord with each other? Where if someone finds my kids doing something and I learn about it, it's not about me as a parent, it's about, as you mentioned, this is, there's a diffusion and an access that we've never had before in humanity. And we're all wrestling with it. And if anyone's got to figure it out, I'm curious who they are, but they weren't me in our household, and I think it's just very incredibly difficult, but worthwhile, an important conversation where we all have humility about how the extent of this and what how we're each trying to grapple with it. So thank you.
Historically, I have seen, the good news is that we have done some things right, but not really enough. And this is not a brand-new problem. I'd say at least 15 years ago, where I saw a student who was ridden with difficulties with her mental health because of being bullied online. And at that point, we did everything we possibly could. We didn't have policies then to work with. And then we did have to contact the district attorney, and they would say they didn't know exactly what we could do because of a number of reasons. But we have come a little ways, and we've done some things right, but we can do better, I think.
This is something we can integrate into bullying prevention. I know that sometimes we anticipate something may go wrong in a certain forum, so if you might learn ahead of time, someone could be mean to you and say these types of things to you online, but it's not personal, and you can hear that ahead of time. It may limit the amount of effect it has. So that's definitely something we can caveat into our management of that whole subject and kind of integrate it, I guess, age appropriately, but also letting people know that these things aren't as personal and that they are common. And maybe that's not a conversation we're having that much because we're afraid to mention it because we don't want them to commonly be bullied online. But, you know, demystifying it, taking some of the sting away from that and addressing it and speaking as a district against those things, that definitely will have big effects, measurable effects, I imagine, years down the road. So it's a brilliant thing to do, and it's a brilliant thing to talk to the parents about. I can't think of anyone who wants their kids to be safer than the parents and caregivers and the people who love them.
Right.
So sounds like a great idea.
Yes.
Melissa?
Oh, I just wanted to make one more point too. Part of it isn't even necessary. Obviously, the bullying is part of it, but part of this is kids have, and I don't know what you can do in it, what we can do in an initiative to educate parents and kids about this, but it seems like children are, instead of coming to adults, instead of coming to their parents, to talk about their feelings and their concerns and their depression, or their potential harmful thoughts, they are texting other children instead of going to an adult. And the problem is other children are not always telling an adult either. And so you might have a thread of children expressing harmful thoughts and no one is telling an adult. And this is very dangerous. And having discussions with the kids about, if you hear something, you have to say something. If you have to go to an adult if you see these things, and you have, and to encourage children not to get that, because the social media gives them this instant gratification. There have been studies, it's just like Pavlov's dog. All of these ding, 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 these sounds and instant gratification that everyone likes your photo or everyone, this and that. And instead of going to their family or their doctor or adults, they are thinking, because they're just little children, that like this other platform will make them feel better, and it only makes them feel worse and more isolated. And so that is a huge piece of this that I don't even know how to tackle that, but that is a huge piece of what's going on. These kids are not going to adults, instead they're going to strangers or their own friends, and nobody's telling an adult, and it's so dangerous.
Yeah, I will add, I used to think in the beginning, my kids were little, it was all about the stranger danger, right? Don't let your kids, go on because you don't know who they're talking to. And what I experienced as a parent is kids who were friends of my children who were not being kind to each other. So I thought that, well, their only contacts are people they know. They're people from school. And then things that would be said by friends or their peers that I said, well, you know, so-and-so, and that must be okay to be friends with so-and-so. And that person is carrying on and saying inappropriate things or whatever. So I think there's sometimes this safety that families think with social media and technology that, well, my kids only have, classmates as their friends, but they don't necessarily know what those conversations are. And we know that inappropriate conversations happen all sorts of places: the playground, the bus, when you have play dates, So they're going to also take place in very darker corners of the world, like social media, like technology. And like what Melissa was saying, they're not coming to light until it's too late. And so I think just having this conversation and opening that we're all kind of on the same team. Mm-hmm. We all want to figure out, how do we best support our kids? How, without placing blame, without, that this is a conversation that we all struggle with. If someone came to me and said, your kid said such and such on Discord, I'd be like, okay, here we go. I know my kid, but I also know that they make mistakes. And I think being vulnerable to understanding that is really important too.
The power of peer pressure.
The power of peer pressure, absolutely, yeah.
And I think it's also, the research has shown it's so much easier to be unkind or
Absolutely.
online. You have that safety, of your device, and it's removed from that personal interaction. If you're looking someone in the face, it's much harder to just, there's more of a filter. You filter those thoughts and those words differently than if it's just an anonymous person online, an online virtual presence. It's so much easier to say things that are uncharacteristic or out of character.
So I think the idea is to have some type of community forum, right? I think this was the first step to say, here's the red flag, this is a crisis, this is what's going on. And we want to be able to help our community navigate this and do it together in solidarity, right? I really love that word. That our children need our help, or the adolescents need our help, and
the families.
The families need our
Yeah,
help.
the families.
The
Yes.
community
And,
needs our help.
I have perceived with some of the parents and guardians with whom I've spoken about this, and it typically is when their kid's in trouble, right? Is some underlying shame that they didn't know, that they didn't catch it. And I think the large majority of time, it's not their fault. There are companies who are designing applications that make us all want to scroll. And how is an let's talk about 7-year-old, right? I had a parent argue with the principal recently about why their first grader needed the phone, right? It's not, like, there's no shame here, right? And yeah.
yeah.
Sorry, it seems like the partnerships for such a forum, casting a wide net, is a thoughtful approach, as Sharon mentioned. Certainly PTOs seem like a natural entity that is a solid one already that has this kind of partnership. But I appreciate certainly thoughts well beyond mine about groups or individuals who are especially adept or interested in this kind of work, because it is so community-wide. So
Yeah. Okay.
So I think this is a good first step, and then we'll revisit it.
Melissa Osborne, I heard you say something about, like, you'd like to work on this. I'll take one person, but if there's a second person, and it can be just Melissa and I,
I would love to work on that.
Yeah, she said.
Okay,
Yeah.
great.
I would happily help too.
Oh,
great.
And I think
Thank
community
you so much
relations
for
too,
bringing
that
this
subcommittee.
topic up.
Community
Community
relations.
kind of sifted
Oh,
through
yeah,
that
yep,
separate-
yep, yep,
But
okay.
I'm, that's,
Oh, I saw, yeah. Yes.
Thank you.
I'll do what I can while I'm here.
Yeah.
We got a long time left. May, June, July, August, September, October. We got 6 months. We can accomplish so much. The assistant district attorney for the leader of the juvenile justice unit, I briefed her this afternoon about this general idea, and I believe they are interested. I know that they're interested. I don't know of another Massachusetts community, and again, I don't know of it. Doesn't mean it hasn't happened, but it has not come across the transom in my office that there are communities doing this in the way that we might. I just haven't heard about it, but this could be something that is, hey, our brave little district, a beacon. Again, a little bit of a beacon maybe. We'll do it honestly. We will do it with love, in solidarity. I think that's going to be in solidarity with each other. So thank you. Thank you for listening. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for bringing this up.
Enrollment update.
0 change. There were some kids coming in, coming out, but the overall change is a 0.
Yeah, and I'll just state, for the record too, we get these enrollment numbers, monthly that we look at, and there's been a lot of, information about declining enrollment. And really, when I look at these numbers, I see a lot of stabilization. And, we have, just to rattle off some numbers, we have a very small senior class. We have 16 students, right? And so that's what came up, at the 3-town at one point. There's only 16 students, one student from this town, one student from this town. Okay, so then we go to grade 11 that has 21. Then we go to grade 10 that has 34. Then we go to grade 9 that has 38. Right? So each grade as we're going down is actually increasing. And then where you see the big difference, right, is that grade 9 jump, right? And so our middle schools are at 62, in both 7th and 8th grade. And then there comes the tech, right? And other opportunities for 9th grade. So it's really hard to say constantly declining enrollment, Yes, if you look at, right, some numbers, but if you go back to our budget book and we look at the 5-year last rolling, there are some kind of stabilizing numbers in the last 5 years. And so we look at all district totals by month. August of 2024, which is the most furthest date on the sheet that I'm looking at in today's packet. August 2024, there was 569 students. As of April 2026, there's 563. That's a net loss of 3 students. Right? Or 6. See? History teacher, not a math teacher. There we go. Right? 6. There we go. And so these numbers are really important, and I think to be fair across all boards, it's more of a stabilization. And so thinking of it of that way is what I would kind of challenge people to think of when you actually look at the numbers. If you're looking at 10 years ago, yes, you're going to see some drastic numbers.
Everywhere.
Everywhere.
Across the world.
The world. Right. Right. So there is some, when the school committee and the district says we see different numbers than this constant declining enrollment over time, and we have a different response to that. Here they are. Here are the numbers. as our graduating classes are going through, they're actually growing. And so that is something that contradicts what is constantly being touted by other entities. Yeah.
Thank you. I think that's such an important context.
Yep.
This is, it's worth our, Melissa, sort of taking what you're describing and putting it on a 3x5 index card. I mean,
Yeah.
because the story is not complicated in some ways.
Right.
We are, what is complicated is a keyhole view. If you have a keyhole view of the senior class, that is what's called a keyhole view for a reason, because you cannot see the rest of the room when you're looking through the keyhole. And what the keyhole of the senior class tells you is sort of the same reason why there aren't a lot of dinosaurs around right now. So something happened earlier
Right.
that led to a class of 16.
Right.
And I think it's not too far reach to say what happened was not having district leadership
Yep.
and not having town support,
Yep.
leading to the district being placed in receivership in 2019, I believe. And it turns out we're in 2026. And boy, was the glass less than half full in 2019. And from my perspective, I think any judicious perspective, the glass is way over half full now. And if you want to keep looking at the 2019 glass,
Yep.
like you're welcome to do that, I guess. But it belies the actual reality on the ground
Right.
of a district that is not doing this by increasing birth rates. Like we have very limited influence on what we can do. That is beyond what we're able to do. But somehow we're bringing in a lot of interest in pre-K, a lot of interest in kindergarten, as you mentioned, an increased class with every year.
Yep.
Coming with the junior class. So a narrow view here is very detrimental to the community and detrimental to what the actual efforts that it's taken
Yep.
to come from a very difficult crisis level situation to one where the district is, in many ways, is flourishing. God bless the senior class for their accomplishments. They are extraordinary, just extraordinary, and they have more compatriots coming up to follow their footsteps. Thank goodness.
Right.
So I'm grateful for that. Just as you already mentioned, Melissa, I'm
Yeah.
sorry, but that perspective is absolutely essential.
Yeah. Thank you. Claire?
Your new students enrolled in Pioneer this week. I know I have one, and she's super sweet.
That's great. That's awesome. That's
We have a
awesome.
special Claire column. That's great.
Great. Thanks, Claire. Yeah.
Comment on the 16 students, the senior students.
Yeah.
Didn't we draw some unbelievable universities and colleges
Yeah.
from
That's
those
right.
16 students?
That's right. That's
So
right.
proud of
Thank
them.
you to them.
Yes.
And every student has a plan. Of the 16 kids, I think 12 of them have college acceptances. One is waiting on an acceptance. One has a gap year planned where they are going to a western state with some big organization to work on building mountain bike trails. That's their gap year. And 2 students are going into the workforce, including one of the students in our essential skills program. So Ms. Carney told me every student has a plan. Right, once again, nobody falls through the cracks of Pioneer. That's what, families
you to
can
the
know that.
16 students.
Nobody
Yes.
falls, every kid has a plan.
Yes.
Thank you, Ms. Carney.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
thank you, Ms.
I just wanted to make a comment, and it's my personal assessment in moving to the area. And I lived on Long Island when I was pregnant with my daughter, and I thought I'm not going to teach a child to drive on the Long Island Expressway. And it is a lovely place. I have nothing against it. And so we had researched, where we were going to move, and we moved for clean air and good water and good education, which at the time, when you do the Realtor.com search, there's a little number on the schools, and it's not as good as, it wasn't as good as it is now. But I also saw a student to teacher ratio, and I also drove by these schools, and, we moved from Northampton to this area because of the more affordable, open, environment, just a nicer area for our needs, and what we thought would be a much better elementary experience for her. And I am not a unique person, and I know there are plenty of people coming. And I don't say this in defense of or in difference to a plan to make, a regionalization. I say this because the beat is going on here, and we are working on what this district is doing now, which is really good. There are not a lot of houses coming up that aren't selling, and there will be more of me coming.
That's right.
And you are welcoming lovely people, and it's a sense of community that I think it's hard to find. So that is why these numbers are getting better and better. And that is why these kids are getting great education from wonderful teachers. And you're absolutely right. We don't look at this gift as anything common. It's very unique. And thank you. What a beautiful place. And I encourage other people. Again, the houses are not staying on the market very long, so there will be more of us.
Yeah.
Right. Thank you. That's right.
Thank you. Okay, personnel update.
Yeah, you can see that we have 5 open instructional assistant positions. We, along with other districts, are struggling in that area. It is our workforce cohort that has the most churn, and these are such important positions. They are the people who are closest to the students, right? They're, yeah. So we are struggling. We did have someone, an IA resign recently, who then quickly came back and said, please, I'd like to rescind that resignation. We said, you bet. So this is what we have.
Good, thank you. Okay, I will entertain a motion to go into executive session according to Mass General Law, Chapter 30A, subsection 21A3, to discuss strategy with respect to collective bargaining with the Teachers Association if an open meeting may have a detrimental effect on the bargaining position of the public body and the chair so declares, to return to open season. It's baseball season, friends. Also, Mass General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 22FG, approval of executive session minutes, 3/26/26. Vote to return to open session at the end of executive session. I am inviting in Superintendent and Ann Harding.
So moved.
Second.
Oh, yeah, roll call.
Sheriff Fontaine, yes.
Stephanie Arroyo, yes.
Raina Dastu, yes.
Gretchen Carlton, yes.
Stephen Martin, yes.
Melissa Gary, yes. Okay, let's go.
Yeah.
All right, and welcome back. So under business, I will accept a motion for the approval of the MOA with the PVREA dropout prevention planning.
So moved.
Second?
Wait.
Yeah, and I would note that there are
That's item B.
items A and C are not.
Yes, so, okay, so we did the approval, we did a motion and a second
For item B.
and for item B.
Yeah.
Melissa's not with us, so we can just do all in favor? Aye, unanimous.
Thank you.
Okay. A and C are not coming forward. For other business not anticipated by the chair at the time of posting, we have an approval of an MOA for a unpaid leave. I will accept a motion to approve that.
So moved.
Second?
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, all right. And, yeah, and one other thing not anticipated, I forgot to mention, yes?
Very quick, I'm sorry. So A and C are not being brought before us because they do not require.
Because they don't require, yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for clarifying that. I forgot to share with the committee that on the behalf of the committee, I sent Taffy flowers. And so she wrote us a very sweet thank you for the beautiful flowers. They really lifted my spirits, and they are purple. I miss being in the office and working with everyone. I'm looking forward to healing and getting back. Again, thank you for thinking of me, Taffy. So that was to all of us. Yes. Yes. Yeah. And then very briefly, the last kind of announcement is tomorrow also hosting is a career fair here at the school that the students are going to have local business people come and speak to them about careers that are available to them. So,
Miss Gary, will you be speaking to the students?
yes, I will be speaking to the students. Yes, yes.
Yeah, she's a business owner.
Yeah, yeah. I
How
own a
long
business,
have we been
yeah.
doing this?
Yeah.
I
I don't know.
Career
I
day.
think this is pretty new,
Wow.
but I don't
Certainly,
know.
the extent to which it's happening tomorrow is bigger than, in my experience,
Yeah.
over the past 5 years.
Let me
Yeah.
Well,
just, go ahead.
The past 20 years,
Yeah.
both my husband and I have been involved in the Career Day speaking for several schools in the area.
Yeah,
And this is wonderful to see it coming back again.
right, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, great.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
Stephanie.
Let me just put into the, mindset of everyone that it is so important that we connect with the alumni of the school district
That's right.
and put out these great stories about the wild and crazy and awesome paths our
Yeah.
lives take and our careers take, and really give these kids the inspiration
Yeah,
to see people coming from where they are and
That's
doing
right.
what they do. Thank you.
great, thank you. All right, upcoming meetings, school committee meeting on May 7th at 6 PM here in the Pioneer Valley Regional School District Library. All right, I will accept a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All right, all in favor? Woo. All right, we're good to go.
Thanks, everybody.
All right, thanks, everyone. Have a good night.
Have a great night.
Thank you.
You too.